There comes a moment when you feel it. Her tone shifts, her interest fades, and the respect she once had for you slips away. Most men panic at that moment. They argue, they explain, they try to win back what's already gone. But respect doesn't return. Through begging, it returns through becoming stronger. This video is about that shift. Because when you stop asking, "Why doesn't she respect me?" and start improving the man you bring to the table, everything changes. A grounded, disciplined, self-controlled man becomes impossible to ignore. And the moment you reconnect with that version of yourself, she feels it. Today, we're breaking down exactly how to rebuild her respect, not with words, but with who you choose to become from this moment forward. Let's begin. Number 1. It starts with you. A woman can't respect a man who isn't centered. Respect doesn't return because you demand it, plead for it, or try to convince her with long conversations. It comes back the moment you begin behaving like a man who respects himself. And that always starts within. If you truly want her to see you differently, you must first see yourself differently. Not as someone who needs her validation, but as someone who leads his own life with clarity and strength. Most men lose respect, not because they're bad partners, but because they lose control of their emotions. Maybe you reacted too quickly in arguments, got jealous too easily, or let her moods dictate your entire day. Maybe you let stress turn you into someone she couldn't rely on. But when you begin controlling your emotions, your reactions, and your mindset, everything changes. A woman feels it. She notices when you stop panicking. She notices when you stop chasing. She notices when you stop taking everything personally and start standing firm in who you are. Imagine a moment when she pulls away slightly before. You would have texted repeatedly, overthought every minute, and hoped for reassurance. Now, you breathe. You let the moment pass. You stay calm. You focus on your responsibilities, your habits, your purpose. That single shift from reactivity to composure tells her more about you than any speech ever could. It shows her you can lead yourself, and a woman cannot respect a man who cannot lead himself. Stoicism teaches this perfectly. Marcus Aurelius, ruling an entire empire, wrote daily reminders to himself to stay grounded, to stay rational, to stay aligned with his values no matter the chaos around him. That's the same inner discipline you're building now. You don't control her feelings, her decisions, or the past, but you control your presence, your mindset, and your direction. And when a man becomes unmoved by external drama and anchored in his own principles, respect naturally returns. Here's the truth most men never hear. When you change your internal posture, she changes the way she stands in front of you. When you raise your standards for how you act, speak, and respond, she instinctively raises her standards for how she treats you. When you stop operating from insecurity, she stops treating you like you're insecure. If you want her to respect you again, it doesn't begin with her. It begins with the quiet work you do when she isn't even looking. And the moment you become a man who respects himself, consistently, calmly, silently, you become a man she cannot help but respect again. Before we move forward, take a moment to sit with what you've just heard. Respect isn't rebuilt through pressure. It's rebuilt through presence, through choices, through the quiet discipline of becoming a man who governs himself. If this message is resonating, let it be a reminder that your growth isn't theoretical. It's happening right now in the way you're processing these ideas. And I want to hear from you. If this spoke to you, like the video, leave a comment sharing your thoughts, or simply type, "I lead myself first." Your reflection fuels this community, and your engagement helps this message reach more men who need it. Let's continue. Number 2. Stop being the old version. The version of you she lost respect for? He cannot be the one leading your life now. And I want you to really sit with that. Because respect doesn't return when you say you've changed. It returns when you become someone new. If you were clingy before, impatient, insecure, too available, always reacting, that was the identity that softened your power. That was the version of you she slowly stopped taking seriously. And if you're honest with yourself, you know it too. A woman respects the man who respects himself first. She pays attention to the man who no longer bends his standards just to keep her comfortable. Think of it like this. Imagine you used to drop everything the moment she called, even if it interrupted your plans. She never asked you to do that, but you did it anyway. Over time, it stopped feeling like love and started feeling like you had no backbone. Now, imagine the new you, the man who follows through on his commitments, who doesn't abandon his priorities, who still cares, but no longer sacrifices his dignity for attention. She feels that difference immediately. Epictetus said, "We are disturbed not by things, but by our perception of them." When your perception shifts, when you view yourself as someone worthy, someone disciplined, someone grounded, your actions start reflecting that truth. And suddenly, the entire dynamic changes. You're no longer the man who panics when she pulls away. You're the man who handles distance with composure. You're no longer the man who needs reassurance. You're the man who creates stability from within. That internal shift is what she respects. And here's the part most men underestimate. Women feel growth before they see it. They sense when a man is not the same guy she once dismissed. They notice when you speak slower, when you react less, when your emotions aren't all over the place. That calm energy becomes magnetic, not because you're playing a game, but because you're living from a stronger center. You want her respect again? Replace the old version of you, the one she outgrew, with the man you were meant to become. A man who doesn't chase validation, who doesn't crumble over silence, and who doesn't negotiate his worth. Respect follows transformation. And when you transform from the inside out, she won't just see it, she'll feel it. Number 3, set quiet boundaries. Respect grows in the soil of boundaries, not loud ones, not dramatic ones, quiet ones. The kind where you simply stop engaging with what drains you. You stop entertaining disrespectful conversations. You stop chasing when she pulls away. A Stoic doesn't announce boundaries, he lives them, and she feels the difference instantly. And let me tell you something. When a woman feels a man respecting himself again, something shifts inside her. She may not say it out loud, but she notices the shift in your tone, your presence, your pace. You're no longer reacting to everything she does. You're responding from a place of calm control. Think of it like this. Maybe before, she would give you a short, cold reply, and you would try to fix it, explain yourself, or chase her energy. But now, you read the message, you breathe, and you simply carry on with your day. Not to punish her, but to protect your peace. Seneca said that a man who cannot rule himself will always be ruled by others. When you shift from trying to manage her moods to managing your own, that respect she lost begins to return. Boundaries are not about telling her what she can or cannot do. They're about showing her what you will and won't accept. So, instead of arguing, you step back. Instead of pleading, you let the situation breathe. Instead of reacting at every emotional spike, you remain steady, grounded, composed. That consistency becomes unmistakable. And here's the part many men miss. Women respect the man who respects himself. When your actions quietly signal, "I value my time, my energy, my peace," she feels that. She remembers that version of you, the one who moved with purpose, not fear, The one who didn't let emotions steer the ship. The one who knew his worth without needing to prove it. Your boundaries don't push her away. They pull her into a different level of awareness. Suddenly, she realizes the old version of you, the one she tried to test, control, or ignore, is gone. And in his place stands a man who lives by his principles. That's when respect begins to rebuild itself, quietly but undeniably. Number 4. Use silence the right way. Silence isn't about punishing her. It's about protecting your peace. When you step back, you're not trying to create fear, confusion, or guilt. You're giving yourself the space you should have claimed a long time ago. Space to breathe, to reflect, to rebuild. The version of you she once admired. And I want you to hear this clearly. Silence used with intention is one of the most powerful tools a man can use to make a woman respect him again. When you were over-communicating, over-explaining, and over-giving, she didn't take any of it seriously. Not because she's heartless, but because you were acting from anxiety, not strength. A woman can't respect a man who is drowning in his own reactions. But the moment you become still, truly still, everything changes. You stop trying to force connection, and you start controlling the one thing Stoicism always teaches you to focus on: yourself. Think of Cleanthes, training alone at night, carrying water for hours in complete silence while others rested. He didn't announce his discipline. He didn't seek applause. His improvement happened in the shadows, in the quiet moments no one witnessed. That's the kind of silence you need right now. A silence that builds you, not breaks you. Let me give you an example. Imagine she becomes distant, cold, or inconsistent. Before, you might have panicked. You would have double-texted, apologized, chased, tried to fix something you didn't break. But now, you step back without bitterness. You stop chasing. You start focusing on your routines, your fitness, your goals, your mental clarity. You become a man she can't pull off center, and suddenly, she starts wondering why your energy feels different. Why you're not reacting, why you're not seeking her approval. That quiet shift in behavior hits harder than any long emotional message ever could. Silence used correctly sends a message without you saying a word. I respect myself enough to step away from anything that disrupts my peace. That is the kind of silence a woman respects. It's calm, disciplined, grounded. The kind that forces her to reconsider the way she sees you. And here's the truth many men never grasp. When you stop talking from weakness and start acting from strength, your silence becomes louder than your voice. It becomes the turning point. It becomes the moment she realizes you're no longer trying to win her, you're trying to win yourself. That's when respect begins to rebuild itself, quietly, naturally, and powerfully. Silence like this deserves a moment of reflection, because it marks the difference between the man you used to be and the man you're becoming now. This isn't withdrawal, it's recalibration. It's the space where your strength resets, where your emotions settle, and where your true center starts to form again. Ask yourself honestly, is your silence coming from fear or from intention, from avoidance or from self-respect? I'd love to hear what this part made you think about. Leave a comment, sharing your thoughts, or simply type this to anchor the lesson. My silence protects my peace. Number 5. Stay emotionally steady. A man who cannot regulate his emotions loses respect quickly. A man who can becomes magnetic. And I want you to really understand this. Because when a woman loses respect for you, it almost always begins with how you handle your emotions. If you react to every mood she has, if you let her silence control your behavior, If your confidence swings up and down depending on whether she texts you back, she can't trust your stability. But when you stay calm, when your voice stays even, when your energy doesn't shake just because she becomes distant, you show her something she didn't expect. Strength without force, presence without pressure. Think about it like this. Imagine she snaps at you or gives you a cold tone. The old version of you might have panicked, argued, over-explained, or begged for reassurance. But the man who wants her respect back responds very differently. He takes a breath. He slows down. He doesn't try to fix her emotion. He holds his own. That contrast hits hard, because she's used to men who crumble under emotional tension. What she doesn't expect is a man who stays centered. This is where Stoicism becomes powerful. Marcus Aurelius wrote that your mind becomes stronger the moment you refuse to let external events control your inner state. When you apply that principle to your relationship, you stop acting from fear and start acting from clarity. You're not being cold, you're being composed. You're not withdrawing, you're choosing self-command. Let me give you a simple example. She says something dismissive like, "Do whatever you want." In the past, you might have chased for clarity or reacted defensively. But the steady version of you simply replies with a calm, "All right," and continues with your day. No drama, no explosion, no emotional collapse. That one moment can shift her entire perception of you, because she suddenly realizes you're no longer controlled by her tone or her approval. Emotional steadiness makes a woman feel something she won't say out loud. Safety. Respect grows in that space, because a man who can lead himself emotionally can lead any situation with strength, calm, and quiet authority. And when she feels that steadiness again, something inside her softens, not because you tried to win her back, but because you became the kind of man she can respect again. Number 6. Lead yourself first. If you truly want a woman to respect you again, you must become the man who sets the tone of the relationship through the way you live, think, and move in your daily life. Respect isn't rebuilt through arguments, explanations, or promises. It's rebuilt through leadership, and not the kind where you try to control her or dictate what she should do. Real leadership starts internally. It starts with the way you manage your thoughts, your habits, your reactions, your goals. When she sees a man who leads himself, she naturally begins to see him differently. Picture this for a moment. Maybe in the past, you were always waiting for her to decide everything. Where to go, when to talk, how much affection you showed. You let the relationship's energy depend on her mood, her texts, her decisions. That version of you felt unreliable, not because you meant any harm, but because you weren't grounded in your own direction. Women lose respect when a man hands over the steering wheel of his life. But the moment you start leading yourself again, with purpose, discipline, and intention, everything shifts. You begin choosing your priorities with clarity. You go to the gym because it's who you are, not because you're trying to look good for someone. You focus on your career or business because you have a mission, not because you want to impress her. You create structure in your days, a morning routine, healthier habits, better sleep, less scrolling, more action. Slowly, your life becomes something you're proud to stand in. Women feel that. They gravitate toward it. They respect it. Think about a simple example. Let's say she texts you late at night, wanting to talk after ignoring you all day. The old you would drop everything, even if you were exhausted or busy. The new you, the man who leads himself, responds when it fits into your world, not out of desperation, not rudely, not with attitude, just with calm direction. That alone communicates volumes. That alone reestablishes respect. Stoicism teaches that the highest form of control is self-control. and the greatest leader is the one who can command his own emotions. Marcus Aurelius didn't lead through force or ego. He led through his behavior, through his discipline, through his unwavering sense of purpose, even when life threw chaos at him. When you lead yourself that way, when you show you can stay calm under pressure, stay focused under distraction, stay disciplined, when temptation hits, she sees a man who is anchored, a man she cannot shake, and that's what rebuilds respect more than anything. Your ability to direct your own life without relying on her reactions to make you feel balanced. When she senses that your world doesn't collapse without her. When she notices that you're building a life that continues with or without her presence. Her entire perception of you changes. A woman respects a man who knows where he's going. A man who stands firmly in his values. A man who doesn't abandon himself for love or fear. Lead yourself first, and you'll find that respect begins to return in ways you didn't even have to ask for. Number 7. Walk away from validation. The moment you stop needing her approval, she starts seeing you differently. And I want you to really hear this, because many of you watching have been living in a cycle you didn't even realize you were trapped in. Constantly seeking her reactions, her attention, her reassurance. When your emotional state rises and falls based on whether she replies fast or slow, whether her tone feels warm or distant, whether she gives you a little affection or pulls it away, you hand over your power without even noticing. But the moment you interrupt that pattern, the moment you stop chasing her validation and start giving yourself the security you used to look for in her, everything shifts. She begins to view you through a different lens, because you're no longer the man whose confidence collapses the moment she withdraws a little affection. Think of it like this. Maybe you used to message her every time you felt insecure, hoping she'd soothe the panic inside you. Maybe you bent your boundaries just to keep her comfortable, even when it made you feel small. Maybe you allowed her moods to dictate your entire day. But then something changes. You wake up one morning and decide that your emotional stability is your responsibility. You start validating yourself through actions, through progress, through discipline, through the way you carry yourself. You stop explaining yourself excessively. Stop apologizing for things that don't require an apology. Stop clinging to a connection you should never have to beg for. And without you even trying, she senses the difference. She sees a man who stands on his own foundation, a man who doesn't crumble under emotional tension, a man who can weather discomfort without losing himself. The Stoics called this your inner fortress, the place within you that remains steady regardless of what the world throws at you. It's not about being cold or emotionless. It's about being anchored. When you become that man, the one who draws strength from his own principles instead of chasing reassurance from someone else, respect naturally returns. Not because you demanded it, not because you tried to persuade her, but because your presence communicates something powerful without a single word. You are whole on your own. And ironically, that's exactly when she starts paying attention again. So walk away from validation. Not to punish her, not out of resentment, but out of genuine strength. Rebuild your center. Rediscover your independence. Fill your life with pursuits that make you feel grounded and alive. Because the truth is simple. The more stable and self-assured you become, the more she will feel that shift, and the more her respect will rise, quietly, inevitably, without you having to force anything. When you really let that message sink in, something important happens. You start to see the pattern with new eyes. This isn't just about her, it's about you reclaiming the identity you lost along the way. And before we move to the next part, I want you to sit with this shift for a moment. Ask yourself, where have you been giving away your power? Where have you allowed someone else's attention, silence, or inconsistency to shape your emotional world. Reflect on it, because awareness is the first step toward transformation. And if any part of this hit home for you, share your thoughts in the comments, or simply type a sentence that captures your realization. Your reflection might be exactly what another man watching needs to hear. Number 8. Match words with actions. Respect grows when your actions match your promises. And I want you to really sit with that, because this is where most men fail without even realizing it. Anyone can speak confidently. Anyone can claim they're working on themselves, but a woman only believes what she can witness. When you say you're focusing on your goals and she actually sees your life tightening up, your schedule cleaner, your workouts consistent, your mindset sharper, that's when her respect slowly starts to rebuild. Not through your words, but through the undeniable evidence of your transformation. Let me give you a simple example. Maybe in the past you told her you were going to stop overreacting, stop being insecure, stop chasing. But when conflict came, you reverted to the same old patterns. Texting too much, explaining too much, apologizing too much. She didn't lose respect because you were emotional. She lost respect because your actions contradicted your intentions. Now, imagine the new version of you. She pushes a little, she gets cold, she pulls away, and you stay calm. Not out of strategy, but out of growth. She sees your patience, she sees your steadiness. She sees that you don't need her attention to stay balanced. That's when something in her shifts. She realizes you weren't just talking, you were changing. The Stoics lived by this principle. Marcus Aurelius didn't write about virtue and then behave recklessly. He governed an empire through the strength of his daily conduct. Epictetus didn't preach discipline and then break down at every challenge. There was alignment between identity and behavior, intention and execution. You must bring that same alignment into your life if you want her respect again. Not perfection, but consistency. Here's the part most men overlook. When your actions finally match your words, she can no longer place you in the same category of the man you used to be. She feels the difference. She feels the steadiness, the boundaries, the maturity. And respect naturally grows in the presence of a man who is congruent, a man who says little but lives loudly. When you embody your commitments, you don't need to convince her you've changed. She sees it, she feels it, and most importantly, she responds to it. Number 9. Let your lifestyle do the talking. You don't have to tell her you're improving. She'll see it in your posture, your fitness, your discipline, your daily habits. She'll notice your confidence rising, your focus sharpening. When your lifestyle becomes your message, every interaction becomes easier. Growth is hard to deny, even for someone who tried to overlook you. And if you're watching this because you want to know how to make a woman respect you again, this is one of the most powerful shifts you can make. Here's the truth most men overlook. Respect is rebuilt through quiet transformation, not loud explanations. You don't regain respect by telling her you've changed. You regain it when she feels the change before you even open your mouth. If you used to be unmotivated, unfocused, or overly available, and now you're waking up early, working on your goals, training your body, pursuing purpose, and becoming more intentional with your time, she will pick up on that instantly. Think about a simple example. Maybe in the past, she saw you scrolling your phone for hours, skipping the gym, procrastinating on your responsibilities. Now imagine she sees you again weeks later, and you're leaner, more energetic, more centered. You speak with clarity, you hold eye contact a little longer. You're not fidgeting or seeking validation. She'll notice the difference before you even say hello. That kind of growth shifts the entire dynamic because it forces her to update her image of you, whether she wants to or not. The Stoics understood this well. Marcus Aurelius didn't preach virtue, he embodied it. He wrote privately about discipline, purpose, and self-mastery. But his real message was the way he lived every single day. That's what you must do now. You're not trying to impress her. You're aligning your actions with the man you want to be. When your life reflects discipline, confidence, and inner peace, people naturally respond to you differently, including her. And here's the beautiful part. When your lifestyle lifts you up, it naturally raises her respect without you needing to chase it. She might even find herself thinking about you at unexpected times, replaying old memories, noticing how different you look, wondering how you became so focused and steady. She may not say it out loud, but she'll feel it. So, let your lifestyle do the talking. Let your new habits speak for you. Let your peace, progress, and purpose become the loudest message you send. Respect returns to the man who no longer tries to prove himself, but simply becomes someone worth respecting. Number 10. Respond, don't react. Arguments, tension, disagreements. These are the moments that define a man. When conflict shows up, you stay composed, you speak calmly, you choose your words with intention. Seneca warned that anger makes us slaves. So you refuse to be ruled by emotion. This level of calm control forces her to see you differently, because very few men operate with this level of discipline. And when we talk about how to make a woman respect you again, this principle becomes even more important. Respect doesn't return when you talk louder, defend harder, or try to prove your point with intensity. It returns when she witnesses a version of you that doesn't crumble under pressure. A man who reacts emotionally feels unpredictable. A man who responds thoughtfully feels trustworthy. Imagine this scenario. She comes at you with frustration, maybe accusing you of something you didn't do or misinterpreting your intentions. The old you might have snapped, raised your voice, or tried to win the argument. But now, you pause. You let her speak. You listen. When you finally answer, your tone is steady, your breathing is controlled, and your words are chosen, not thrown. That contrast is powerful. It disarms her. It breaks the pattern she expected. And that's usually the moment when she realizes she can no longer provoke you the way she once could. To a woman, this kind of emotional discipline is deeply attractive because it signals maturity, strength, and leadership. Stoicism has always taught that the man who controls himself controls the situation. Marcus Aurelius faced war, betrayal, and loss with a calm mind, not because he felt nothing, but because he understood the value of choosing his response. When you carry that same energy into your relationship, you become the stable center she gravitates toward, rather than the chaotic force she moves away from. This shift doesn't just change how she sees you, it changes how she behaves toward you. A woman naturally speaks differently, argues differently, and interacts differently when she's dealing with a man who cannot be pushed off balance. She starts to soften. She starts to listen. She starts to respect the calm strength you bring into every conversation. Anyone can react. Anyone can yell or take things personally. But the man who responds, the man who stays grounded in the storm, becomes rare. And when you become rare, you become respected again. So when conflict appears, remember this. Your power is in your pause. Your respect is rebuilt in your restraint. And your strength is proven not by how loudly you speak, but by how clearly you respond. When you think about everything we just covered, I want you to pause for a moment and ask yourself a simple question. How often have your reactions, not the situation itself, made things worse. Conflict doesn't just test your emotions. It exposes your discipline, your patience, and your character. So ask yourself honestly, in tense moments, do you lead yourself, or do you let the moment lead you? Drop a comment below and share your thoughts, because your reflection here says more about your growth than any argument ever could. Number 11. Become the man she can't ignore. Respect is not something you chase, it's something you attract through the man you become. And I want you to really hear that, because so many men lose respect by trying too hard to win it back. They explain themselves. They overthink. They overtext. They try to prove their worth. But respect doesn't return because you say you've changed. It returns when she feels that you've changed. When your presence, your silence, your discipline, and your new energy speak louder than anything you could ever tell her. Think about the version of you she last interacted with. Maybe you were too available. Maybe you reacted emotionally. Maybe you tolerated things you shouldn't have. Maybe you tried to convince her that you were good enough. That man was easy to overlook because he didn't stand firmly on his own foundation. But the man you're becoming? He's built differently. He's calmer. He's harder to shake. He's more selective about where he places his attention. He operates from purpose, not emotion. Let me give you a clear example. Imagine she starts pulling away or acting cold. The old you would panic, ask what's wrong, try to win her back immediately. The new you pauses. You breathe before responding. You move through your day with focus. You hit the gym. You work on your goals. You handle your responsibilities. Not to provoke her, but because you refuse to lose yourself again. That shift alone changes everything. Suddenly, she's the one watching you instead of the other way around. She notices your calmness. She notices that her distance doesn't shake you. And that creates a tension she can't ignore. Stoicism teaches that a man should be ruled by reason, not impulse. Epictetus said that no one can take your peace unless you hand it to them. And when you stop handing your peace away, you automatically become more respectable. You stop reacting. You stop explaining yourself to someone who isn't listening. You stop trying to force what should come naturally. That inner stability makes you stand out in her mind. Because most men crumble the moment a woman pulls away, but you don't. And here's the truth. When a woman sees a man transform in silence, not with announcements, not with dramatic declarations, but with quiet consistency, her entire perception of him shifts. The man she once took for granted is no longer predictable, no longer desperate, no longer waiting. You've evolved into someone she has to reevaluate, someone she has to watch closely, someone she can't disrespect even if she tried, because your energy no longer allows it. You're no longer chasing respect. You're becoming the man who naturally commands it. The man she can't ignore because you stopped ignoring your own potential. When you step back and look at everything we've covered, the path becomes clear. Respect is not rebuilt through pressure, persuasion, or emotional chasing. It's rebuilt through transformation. Not the loud kind, not the performative kind, the quiet, disciplined evolution that happens when a man finally decides to return to himself. Every principle in this video leads to the same truth. When you strengthen your center, when you rise above reactivity, when you live with purpose instead of panic, you stop trying to earn her respect, and you start embodying it. That's the shift she feels. That's the shift that changes everything. So, as you move forward from this video, I want you to remember this. Becoming a stronger man isn't just about getting her respect back. It's about reclaiming your own. The respect you show yourself in your habits, your presence, your boundaries, your silence, your discipline, is the respect the world mirrors back to you. It's not an overnight process, but every day you commit to this path, you become harder to shake, easier to admire, and impossible to overlook. Thank you for spending this time working on yourself. If this message resonated with you, make sure to like this video. It helps more men find the guidance they need. Leave a comment below and tell me which part hit you the hardest, or what shift you're committed to making next. And when you're ready to dive deeper into mastering calm, discipline, and the mindset of a Stoic man, watch the recommended videos on your screen. They'll take you even further on this journey.